Chicago was the stage for a highly anticipated welterweight quarterfinal, pitting hard-striking UFC veteran Ryan Thomas against two-time NCAA champion and 2008 Olympic wrestler Ben Askren. Just over 2 minutes into the fight, Askren looked to finish Thomas with a choke.
Oh, that is tight!
Leading to the biggest moment of controversy in Bellator this season.
Technical submission! Wow, Ryan Thomas is still very much awake.
I wasn't out. I was just doing what I was supposed to do, get my thumb under his hands to break his grip, waiting it out for his arms to get tired. And the next thing I know, the referee puts his hands on my chest. I look up and he's waving his hands, and I raise my hands in protest, saying, "Referee, what are you doing? Why are you stopping the fight?"
Thomas is furious.
You know, I locked it up. I had it tight. I don't know what the ref saw. He didn't tap out. I know that. It's the ref's call, though.
In the cage, he told me he knew I didn't tap. He told me I didn't pass out. And then, you know, at the press conference an hour and a half later, he's telling me I need to graciously accept defeat. And then I was out cold and all this stuff. I've really lost some respect for him. I want my rematch with Askren. I know everybody believes that I deserve my rematch with Askren.
When Jim Wallhead was unable to travel from England for the welterweight quarterfinal at Bellator 15, Bellator CEO Bjorn Rebney gave Thomas another opportunity, awarding him Wallhead's spot in the quarterfinals against Jacob McClintock. After hearing about Thomas's good fortune, Ben Askren took the feud online to further taunt his rival. Thomas defeated McClintock in the first round via technical knockout, setting the stage for a semifinal rematch against Askren. Once humble in defeat, Thomas was now eager for a chance at revenge.
There's a loss to my record that doesn't belong there right now. Ben, you know you didn't beat me. Everybody knows you didn't beat me. I want my chance. You're running your mouth. Let's do it.
Askren took the opportunity to respond online, turning up the heat even further as he promised to choke his opponent yet again, and turning tonight's semifinal into a true grudge match.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your first fighter set and ready to make his way to the cage. Fighting out of the red corner, this is Ryan Thomas.
So rarely is it personal in the sport of MMA. Jimmy, tonight it is very personal for Ryan Thomas. He says for the first time in his pro mixed martial arts career that he genuinely dislikes his opponent.
Now, what effect will that have on Ryan Thomas's game plan? You don't want your emotions to really affect you in the cage. You got to be in control.
And his opponent tonight, fighting out of the blue corner, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ben Askren.
Ben Askren quite clear in our fighter meetings that he doesn't dislike Ryan Thomas. He's just really, really irritated by the comments of Ryan Thomas.
You know, I don't think he takes his words that seriously, certainly not as seriously as Ryan Thomas takes him. I think he's hyping up the fight, but let's see if that backfires for him.
Jimmy, let's take a look at your inner circle.
Well, Askren wants to follow the first fight game plan. Thomas underestimated Askren's jiu-jitsu. That led to a ground fight. Askren wants that again. That's his path to victory. Thomas needs to rely on his right hand. Thomas took on, I think, a better jiu-jitsu fighter in Jacob McClintock. He ignored the ground battle. He made use of that big right hand. He needs that kind of performance against Askren tonight. How will the hype affect the fight? Thomas is taking Askren's words very seriously. Will that anger make him more determined, or will it make him over-aggressive?
Bellator's second welterweight semifinal is moments away. We send it back to Michael Williams.
Bellator Fighting Championships along with UB.net and Everlast. What do you fight for? Tonight at Bellator 19 here at the Verizon Theater. Now present 3 5-minute rounds. Our second semifinal round fight in the Bellator tournament welterweight division. And now introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He wears the black trunks at 6 foot even. He weighed in at 170 1/2 pounds. The wrestler and Muay Thai striker has a professional record of 11 victories, 4 by way of knockout, 7 by way of submission against 4 defeats. Representing True Believers MMA and fighting out of Danville, Illinois, introducing Ryan the Tank Engine Thomas. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the yellow trimmed in black. At 5'11", he weighed in exactly the same at 170.5 pounds. The Olympic wrestler, as a mixed martial artist, stands undefeated at 4-0. 1 victory by knockout, 3 by way of submission. Representing Lions Den, Scottsdale, and fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, presenting Ben Askren. And the referee in charge of this contest, Kerry Hatley.
Okay, gentlemen, here we go. Here we go, gentlemen. Okay, gentlemen, this is a tournament, semi-final welterweight division. Been giving you rules in the dressing room. Any questions here? Any questions here? We will have a good, clean fight. Touch them up. Here we go.
The winner of this second welterweight semifinal to face Dan Hornbuckle in Bellator's second season tournament welterweight final. There you see Dan Hornbuckle. Earlier this evening, here at Bellator 19, a first-round submission win versus Steve Carl. Ryan Thomas is in the black trunks. Okay, Ben Askren, the 2008 U.S. Olympian in freestyle wrestling, in the yellow trunks. The bell in round number 1. Kerry Hatley is the referee.
Now, Ryan Thomas said in his gym they put up pictures of Ben Askren of some of the quotes, some of the things he'd been saying. He used those things for motivation. He finally gets to punch that face.
Slip a moment ago by Thomas. Askren didn't pounce. Pounces there. The takedown by the 2-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion from the University of Missouri, Ben Askren. Thomas wrestled collegiately at Eastern Illinois University. Ben Askren, one of the greatest collegiate wrestlers of his generation.
No, he certainly is. I mean, there are levels in wrestling, and Ben Askren is on the top level of that. Olympic caliber wrestler. He is phenomenal with his takedowns, but this is what Ryan Thomas doesn't want, is this scrambling jiu-jitsu battle. That's what cost him the first fight.
Side control by Ben Askren, trying to step over, couldn't do so.
Everybody knows what a great wrestler Ben Askren is, but Thomas underestimated his jiu-jitsu last time. He's playing the same game again, this rolling around game. I think this favors Ben Askren.
Askren holds the rank of purple belt in BJJ. Smooth movement on the top by Ben Askren. Askren is currently the director of operations for the wrestling team at Arizona State University, so he's literally on the mat, scrambling, grappling every single day, aside from his MMA training.
Well, he plans to go to the World Trials in wrestling on June 11th for the World Team Trial, so, you know, he's spending a lot of time wrestling. It's so funny, his nickname is Funky Ben Askren. That was his wrestling nickname, and his style is so funky. He doesn't hold position like a jiu-jitsu guy does. Puts his head down. It's just really strange to watch as a jiu-jitsu fighter myself.
Thomas holding half guard. Ryan Thomas, the UFC veteran, trying to keep his composure on the bottom. 2 body shots there by Askren. Ben Askren said that he wanted to get inside the head of Ryan Thomas. He wanted Thomas to fight angry.
Well, like I said in the beginning, I don't think Askren takes his own comments that seriously. I think he's just, in his mind, just hyping the fight and having fun. Thomas is the one who's taking this very seriously and getting extremely angry about his comments.
Nice little short right hands, then a left on the bottom by Ryan Thomas.
What's the fingers? What's the fingers?
It's funny.
Thomas trying to work rubber guard, Jimmy.
You can see Askren's inexperience in jiu-jitsu. He does some really strange technical mistakes, but he's so physically gifted, so flexible, so used to wrestling that he kind of makes up for it with that, awkward style, awkward movements he has.
Again, side control by Ben Askren.
So far, though, he's just all over Ryan Thomas, moving around very freely. Thomas, a lot of times, trying to push him off. I don't think that's a good idea.
Interesting spin there from the 2008 U.S. Olympian Ben Askren.
Now stepping over for the armbar.
Looking for a belly down armbar. Thomas posturing on his hip.
Thomas needs to step over Askren's body to relieve the pressure on his arm, and he does it.
Thomas playing defense very nicely. Big ovation from the crowd here at Grand Prairie, Texas.
Askren now scrambling, trying to get out of this position, and once again, Thomas ends up on bottom.
This is a good technical grappling fight thus far. Can you see the rubber guard being worked by Ryan Thomas?
I disagree. It's anything but technical. It's very wild, very sloppy. From a strictly jiu-jitsu point of view, it's not a real technical grappling match. These guys are trading a lot of positions. A lot of movement that you don't necessarily see in a jiu-jitsu match. You know, we've seen world-level guys, you know, especially in the 145-pound tournament, guys like Wilson Hayes and Patricio Pippo, they get mount, they don't go anywhere. You're done. These guys are swapping a lot of different positions, moving around a lot.
There is full mount achieved by Ben Askren. Final minute of round number 1.
Now let's see if Ben Askren knows what to do with this position, knows exactly how to use it. Looks like he's going for that armbar again.
Ground and pound from Askren. Thomas holding the body lock from the bottom.
Watch your fingers, watch your fingers, let's go.
That's one thing is that Ryan Thomas has himself a wrestling background. I just don't think he's that used to fighting from his back.
Almost a crossface there from Askren.
Oh, crossface, they love the crossface in wrestling. Guys will grind your face right off of you. And now going for the armbar again. Trying to straighten that arm. Thomas trying to defend.
Closing seconds of round number 1.
Now going for the triangle, looks like, but I don't think he's going to get Askren yet. I'm just going to get Thomas yet.
We are headed to round number 2.
Now, you see in the top left here, Askren going for the straight armbar against Ryan Thomas. Thomas able to step over. That relieves the pressure on your arm. Came out, ended up inside control, but not able to hold the position. And Askren just scrambling and once again ending up on top.
The bell in round number 2. I like referee Kerry Hadley. He just looked at me and said, "Are you ready?" He waited for the replay. Round number 2.
That's our kind of guy, Sean. Oh, finally a takedown by Ryan Thomas.
Thomas in the black trunks, Askren in the yellow trunks.
This is exactly the same position he finished Jacob McClintock in the last fight. Trapped the arm and rained down punches till the referee stopped it. So he is very dangerous from here.
5th pro MMA fight for Ben Askren, enters 4-0. First time that he has gone into round number 2.
There you go! Get it, Ryan! Get it! Get it!
Thomas just let go with the right hand. Didn't fully find the mark.
Might be spinning around for a knee bar or a leg lock. Can't really tell from here.
Thomas looking for a foot.
Now it looks like he's going for the toe hold. He's trying to crank it. Very hard, trying to crank that toe hold. I don't think his grip is quite deep enough, though.
No look of panic on the face of Ben Askren.
Should have let go of that a little bit sooner, Sean, and transition to the knee bar, but Ben Askren buried his leg before he could do it.
Askren again into side control.
Now, what Thomas isn't doing is he's not taking advantage of these scrambles to stand up. He's going for his own submissions. He's trying to play a jiu-jitsu battle, and that's a battle he is so far losing.
Full sit-up in the mount by Ben Askren.
Watch your back of the head.
Now Thomas giving up his back. This is not what he wants to do.
Both hooks in by Askren. Looking for the rear naked choke. He's lost one hook as Askren. Good turn by Thomas.
Thomas now trying to stand up.
Thomas, Jimmy, prevented Askren from getting the second hook in. Clever stuff on the bottom. Crucifix position now by Ben Askren. Letting go with those short punches with the left hand right to the face of Ryan Thomas.
This is a good place to stop a fight. If you can keep a guy from defending himself, you don't have to land big punches to win.
Thomas posturing on his hip, then to his back, then to his hip, trying to sit up now. Askren told us in our fighter meeting, "I'm not really strong, but I have the type of strength where I can hold on to you for 10 minutes.
You know, that's years and years of wrestling. They can hold the position forever. Wrestling strength is really its own kind of strength. You don't measure it in bench presses. You don't measure it in how hard you hit. It's how long you can hold something. And Ben Askren can hold you forever.
Thomas continuing the work off of his back. Round number 2, Bellator's second welterweight semifinal. The winner to face Dan Hornbuckle in the final. The winner of that bout to face Lyman Good for Bellator's World Welterweight Championship.
No, you don't call getting side-mounted working off your back. He's got to get guard. He's got to get an offensive position if he's going to do something. Working from his back, getting mounted, side-mounted is not going to help him at all.
Getting full mount, but you see how tight Thomas is holding Askren. Now Askren reining up. Looking to punch position, Thomas turning. Thomas again gives his back. Askren looking for the rear naked choke. Thomas turning right back. Gave his back, then took it away. Thomas still in full mount.
Crawling up on the cage is Thomas.
Thomas almost out the back door.
You see, he gets a little bit of space here, and he's diving for a leg right now, going for a leg lock. He needs to use these transitional positions to get back to his feet. I don't see him winning a submission match with Ben Askren.
Thomas tried to hook under the knee pit, tried to straighten out the leg of Askren, couldn't do it. Askren right back inside control.
And also, like we were just saying, Sean, Ben Askren has the wrestling experience to go and grapple forever. He's not going to get tired. You're not going to wear him out. On the feet, that's where you have a chance to wear him out, drag him into the late rounds in the deep water he's never been in before. He knows he can grapple for a half hour at a time, Sean. You don't get to the Olympics without having endurance in grappling.
Again, Askren looking for the rear naked choke. Closing stages of our second round. Again, Ryan Thomas playing defense. And again, Jimmy, Ryan Thomas gives his back.
Well, he's giving his back, he's giving up bad positions, but Askren so far not able to finish. He doesn't have the ground experience to finish in any of these positions yet, so far.
We are headed to a final round. Earlier tonight, here at Bellator 19, on our first welterweight semifinal, that man, Dan Hornbuckle, sitting with his wife, Melody, submitted in the first round Steve Carl to book passage into the final of Bellator Season 2 welterweight tournament. This, the third and final round of this second welterweight semifinal. The winner to face Dan Hornbuckle. Ryan Thomas in the black trunks, 2008 U.S. Olympian in freestyle wrestling, Ben Askren in the yellow trunks.
So far, after the first 2 rounds, you got to give it 2 rounds to none to Ben Askren. He's been on top. He's been controlling the fight. I would definitely say 20-18 in favor of Ben Askren so far.
Thomas, momentarily, Jimmy, was looking either for a Darce or an Anaconda, couldn't find either.
And that's been the story of the fight. He has positions where he can maybe get up, maybe sprawl, scramble up, and he goes for a submission. He ends up here with Ben Askren on top.
This is a large story of this fight. Maybe the main plot point. Side control by Ben Askren on Ryan Thomas. Thomas working from his back, then from his hip.
Now, when you're known, which Ben Askren probably does, he's up 2 rounds to none. He doesn't have to do a whole lot this round. He can do what he's done in the first 2 rounds. Get control, land some shots, go for some submissions. He knows he doesn't have to take any risks in this round, and that's not where you want a wrestler to be because they are so good with their positioning. You want him to have to take risks, and right now Ben Askren doesn't have to take any.
Short stinging right hands there from side position by Askren. Thomas into the crucifix. Thomas pulling his left hand out. Askren losing the full crucifix position. But you see, really tight and really flat in that side mount.
Oh, he's very flat.
If you're in the corner of Ryan Thomas, Jimmy, what are you saying to your man?
You have to scramble. We've seen already Askren isn't an outstanding finisher. He's not the kind of guy, as soon as he takes your back, he's got the choke. You got to move. You got to create scrambles. Take a little risk to get back to your feet. You're already down 2 rounds to none.
Askren had both hooks in momentarily, lost both hooks. Thomas back to his feet.
Askren went for a throw and didn't get it. Now it's Thomas in crucifix position, but he's about to lose it again.
Thomas trying to position to the back of Ben Askren.
And Ben Askren has that arm, though, so strong with the grappling. Askren's safe, he's controlling that leg, and he's back on top again. It's been the story of this fight.
Askren, cool as you like, just pulling out of that awkward position.
Thomas just wasting so much gas trying to get these submissions, and Ben Askren just scrambling out of them.
Again, you see the side control of Ben Askren. Trying to step over into full mount. Couldn't do it there. It does it there. Full mount again achieved by Ben Askren. And the left into the ribcage by Askren.
You can hear his corner right to our left just screaming at Ryan Thomas. He has to go now, but Ben Askren doing everything right, staying in dominant position, not risking anything to give up position, and he's 1 minute and 40 away from winning the rematch. If he keeps doing what he's doing, stays on top.
Thomas momentarily gave his back. Rolled to his hip, now flat on his back. Thomas has continually given his back to Ben Askren in this fight. Does so again right there on cue. Askren now both hooks in. Flattening out Ryan Thomas, and again Thomas turns. But it's Thomas playing defense and it's Askren playing offense.
Yep. Not a ton of damage with the ground and pound. Hasn't come that close with a lot of submissions, but you just said it. Ryan Thomas playing defense, Ben Askren in offense.
Into the 15th and final minute of this fight. Second welterweight tournament semifinal. Ryan Thomas versus Ben Askren. The winner to face Dan Hornbuckle earlier tonight, victorious over Steve Carl in the second season welterweight tournament final. The winner of that bout has a date with Lyman Good, the reigning Bellator World Welterweight Champion, for his title.
Well, Thomas has 30 seconds to make something out of this fight. If he does not, it's going to be a clear-cut decision for Ben Askren.
Thomas again trying to turn, posturing back to his hip, trying to pull out from the back door, can't do so.
He just right now doesn't seem to have any answer for the positioning of Ben Askren.
Askren looking to finish in the closing stages of this fight with a choke. Doesn't have it there.
Doesn't matter, all he has to do is hang on. He's not going to burn himself out trying for a choke.
A chin lock at the bell. When we return, we will learn the winner of this fight. And Jimmy Smith will take comments from the victor. You are watching Bellator Fighting Championships. Their first fight earlier this season in the quarterfinal round of Bellator's welterweight tournament resulted in the biggest moment of controversy in the history of Bellator Fighting Championships when Ben Askren defeated Ryan Thomas by way of technical submission. The rematch here in the semifinal round goes all 3 rounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your judges' scorecards. All 3 judges, Ken Bassinger, Brock Groom, and Dan Mathiasen, all scored about exactly the same at 30-27. All for the winner by unanimous decision. And now your second finalist in the Bellator tournament, welterweight division, Ben Askren.
I'm here with both fighters. Ryan Thomas, you fought to earn another shot. You got it against Ben Askren. Tough 3-round fight. How are you feeling right now, man?
Yeah, I'd still like to thank Bjorn Rebney for bringing me back. Ben, superior wrestler, and ground control in that crucifix position just kind of took my gas away. And he fought really tough, and everybody should be proud of him.
Thanks a lot, Thomas. I'm here with your winner, Ben Askren. First time you've been out of the first round, grueling fight, but you controlled from start to finish.
Yeah, it was a war, man. He came to fight. I was close on a couple of submissions first round. I just had to dig deep, baby.
All right, check out the screen up here.
Yeah.
It was all about positions in this fight. Tell us how it went down.
I controlled top. I was going over some submissions, but he was slipping on every one I got. Did some damage from the crucifix and mount, but like I said, he never stopped moving, so it made it tough for me to do anything.
All right. We have both finalists in here. We have Dan the Handler Hornbuckle. Great fight to get here to the finals. I know you've trained with Ryan Thomas before. I could hear you screaming. How do you feel about taking on Ben Askren in the finals?
I feel great about taking on Ben Askren in the finals. It's going to be a battle of the bands.
Ben, you saw Dan Hornbuckle's first fight, 2 fights. Oh, he's in the back. Yeah. Well, doesn't even need to see it, but 2 fights, 2 quick submissions. How do you feel about your chances against this man?
Well, I got great ground game. I don't see him submitting me. I heard he's dangerous on his feet, so we'll see if he can stay off his back.
Big hand, here are your welterweight finalists, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Hornbuckle and Ben Askren.
No shame for Ryan Thomas in defeat tonight.